Our next question comes from, actually, I'm sorry, I can't read your name. It's written in a language that I do not speak or read. So he asks my advice on becoming a professional boxer. He wants to do that. That's his dream. Okay? He says he got a late start in boxing, started at age 17. I don't know how old you are now. I don't know how long you've been training, but he started at age 17 and he really wants to do this, but he's worried because if he gets injured, then it's going to affect his family. Okay? Because he's very concerned about taking care of his family right now and his future family when he has kids, and that's very important to him. Okay? So basically it's a question of, should I play it safe and take care of the people I love, or should I follow my dream and possibly do something reckless that could get me hurt? Okay, man. It's a responsible question, my friend. Now, I started training when I was 17 years old as well. My very first martial art was Taekwondo. I competed in that for about 10 years. I didn't start training for professional combat sports until about age 24. Okay? So, as long as you're getting good instruction and as long as you're putting in the work, I wouldn't say, starting later than you would have liked to is necessarily a bad thing. Just make sure you get that work in. Now, what should you do? Ultimately, the choice is yours, my friend. But my advice, okay? Now, I don't know how old you are. I don't know how long you've been boxing or training, but I'll assume it's hasn't been that long. I'm going on the assumption you're still close to age 17. Okay? And I'm going on the assumption that you haven't boxed much yet. So my advice, try it out. Take boxing classes, work out at the boxing gym. Right? See how that works out for you. Okay? See how passionate you are about it when you take a few of those to the face. Okay? Because I always see a lot of people who are really, really excited about the idea of fighting, about mixed martial arts, cage fighting and all that. They come into my gym, they're like, yeah, I want to be a cage fighter, I want to do that UFC stuff. And then when they're hit with the brutal reality of training, the boring reality of training, the tedious reality of training, day in and day out, that passion shrivels up really quick. Okay? A lot of them, when they see that they're not as good as they thought they were instantly or quick enough because they lack the patience, passion shrivels up real quick. So the thing about passion, and I had another question from another subscriber about passion. He asked, how do I find my passion? How do I sustain my passion? Okay, here's the thing about passion. I don't get passion. I don't understand it. Right? I'm not really naturally passionate about anything, to be honest. Okay? There are things I enjoy, but this idea that we're supposed to be just passionately obsessed with what we do all the time, I think that's a lie. I think that's something that actually holds us back more than pushes us forward. There's a guitarist, Steve Vai. Look him up here on YouTube. Whether you play the guitar or not, and he's got this series of videos, I think he calls them guitar lessons, where he never actually plays the guitar. He's holding it, and he's talking about it, but he never actually does any of that cool neoclassical rock guitar stuff he's famous for. He just talks. In one of those videos, he talks about passion, and it's a beautiful monologue. Oh man, that monologue transcends guitar into all skills in life. And as I watched that, man, I felt myself just like growing as a martial artist and a coach. This passion, man, if we are feeling robbed because we're not feeling passion about what we do, man, you've just robbed yourself. Whew. The thing with Steve Vai, he said, he's amazing. He's this pioneer of neoclassical rock guitar. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's where they move their fingers a million miles an hour and play a zillion notes, and it sounds amazing. And his advice is whether you feel passionate about playing guitar or not, just keep doing it. Get your 10,000 hours in. And he said, I think there are a lot of people out there who are a lot more naturally talented than I am, but I just kept doing it. And there's so much value in that. Man, I'm not a naturally strong person. I'm not a naturally athletic person. Man, I was the weak, skinny, stick-thin, 90-pound weakling. My senior year of high school, 90 pounds. It's like 40 kilos. I looked like a skeleton. I was the guy who got picked on and shoved around, man. And the closest thing I had to passion about learning how to fight was the knowledge that if I didn't, the bullies would beat the crap out of me. And why did I keep doing it? After I finished school and there were no more bullies around, well, it's life, my friends. Life is a fight. And when you're a coach, and I got another question. I'm going to address several questions in this one. Another question, this guy asked me, how do I deal with people who come into the gym trying to pick a fight with you as the coach? Does this happen to you? Do people come in with like a chip on their shoulder and something to prove? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. Happens all the time. People, they look at my professional MMA record, they look up my name on SureDog and they think like, oh, but I don't know that SureDog exists. And SureDog says I've got a professional MMA record of 3 wins and 4 losses. Now, it's not accurate, but that's what it says. It also says I'm 5'10" and 145 pounds. Neither of those are true. I'm 6'1" and closer to 190 pounds. I fought in 4 different weight classes. It doesn't mention anything about that. Okay? It's just got information about fights that are 10, 12 years old. It doesn't say anything about the work I put in since then. And so people, they come into the gym expecting to see this puny little guy who's not very good at fighting, to challenge me, to do some kind of dojo storm. And they're kind of shocked when they see this dude who's like 40 years old, who can tag them 6 times in the chin, put them on the ground, and make them tap out for 3 different reasons before they can even fire a shot off. Now, I don't say that to brag. The thing is, one thing that keeps me going is because I know people are going to come in and test me. They always do, every day. My students test me constantly, and I love that, and I appreciate that, because that keeps me on my toes. That keeps me back here in the weight section every morning doing my strength and conditioning when my body and my mind are screaming, no, I don't want to, I'm tired, let's sleep in. Oh, it's too hard. Is it really worth it to be strong? Yes. Yes. Am I passionate about doing difficult things? Well, I suppose in one way I kind of am, but I feel the same way that everybody else in the world does about doing difficult things. It's not something I enjoy. The result, afterward, yes, I love that stuff, man. I love being strong. I love being able to win fights. I love it when people come in the gym with something to prove and they walk away with a lesson from it. You know, instead of just fueling their pride, they're like, hey, maybe this guy has something to teach me after all. Sometimes they sign up, and that's great. So it's not passion that keeps me on my toes like that so much as it is necessity. It's life. So your passion is boxing. You feel passionate about it. Why? Do you wake up every morning thinking, I want to box, I want to box, I want to train for boxing? Right? Remember what Marcelo Garcia said. No, he wasn't a boxer. He was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert, world champion. He said, it's not enough to want to win. You have to want to train to win. See, lots of people are passionate about the idea of winning because winning is fun. Winning's the exciting part. Winning's cool. You got to be the man when you win. But the training, the grind, You don't have to love that, but you have to want to do it. So I don't love the hard stuff, but I want to do it because I want the result. And if you don't want to do the hard stuff, you don't want the result. As far as injuries go, here's the thing. Life is going to kill you anyway. Now, I'm not saying put yourself in unnecessary danger, but life is going to kill you anyway. Now, when I was fighting professionally, I was working 3 different jobs at the same time. It was a really difficult time financially for me. One of my jobs, I worked in this factory, 16-hour shifts, late night. And there were a lot of serious injuries on the line. People got sucked into machinery. I saw a guy get his arm torn off. Saw a guy killed. I had some serious back injuries at this job. I lost some of my hearing because, it's like 130 decibels in this factory with all the machinery. I had to wear these sound dampening headphones, but it simply wasn't enough. And this was a dangerous job. But the thing is, nobody ever asked me, aren't you afraid of going to work today? Aren't you afraid you might get hit by a forklift or you might get pulled into the conveyor belt, or you might get stuck in the machinery, or there might be an accident? Because that stuff happened often. But when they found out, oh, he's a cage fighter, he's a kickboxer, he does Muay Thai, he does that fighting stuff, they'd always ask me, aren't you afraid that you'll get hurt? Well, duh. Yeah, because if you're not reasonably afraid that something like that might happen, then you don't know what sport you're doing. Okay? So yeah, boxing is an inherently dangerous sport. Fighting, all combat sports are inherently dangerous. There is a serious risk of serious injury and even death. Okay? There are long-term ramifications. Brain damage, for example. That's some serious stuff you got to think about. So, at the same time, like I said, life is going to kill you anyway. Life is going to injure you. Before I ever started fighting, I don't know if you can see it, but I got this scar all the way from here to here, and it goes all the way down. Can you see that? It's like, it goes all the way down. What's that scar from? Man, when I was 21 years old, I ended up hospitalized because my guts just stopped working. I had some scar tissue growing on my intestines, blocking them up because I had a botched appendectomy. My appendix burst. That's bad enough. That can kill you, but man, surgical complications. Oh, that just makes it so much worse. They had to cut me open like a fish, take my guts out, cut pieces off, stitch them back together, stuff them back in, staple me together, stick some tubes in me and stuff, and then do it all over again, and then again, and then again. And I had all these major surgeries, and I was laid out for a couple of years, man. Spent months in the hospital at a time, and the rest of the year pretty much in recovery. And man, that almost killed me so many times. And I remember thinking, man, if I get out of this alive, I need to change my priorities. Because life is going to kill me anyway. I need to do something while I still can. And one of those things I really wanted to do was fight. And it was one of those things I was always kind of, that's something for other people, not me. That's something that they do in the movies. That's something that people do on television. That's not me. I'm just a guy. I'm just normal, right? I don't have a special talent for it. I'm a weakling. I'm a sick guy. I've had all these surgeries. I look like a skeleton. I've got no muscles. But man, I tell you, close encounters with death. And understanding your own mortality, man, that'll teach you a lot about your priorities. So, my friend, I won't tell you what to do, but ask yourself, what do you really want? Because it's not about passion, it's about what you want. I have a family, I've got 2 daughters, I've got a wife. And, man, it's the most important thing in the world to me. And so, when I come to the gym, when I come to work, when I do this as well, lift those weights, do that hard, heavy stuff I don't necessarily enjoy, it's not just because I feel like, yay, me, I love this, I'm passionate. Why do I do it? I do it for them too. Put food on the table. Make sure they have a place to sleep, food to eat. So it goes both ways, man. If you've got other options besides fighting to feed your family, take care of them, yeah, look into that. If you don't, well, consider your options there too. Thanks for watching. Get out there and train.